Good afternoon, everyone. Our topic for today is about the essential skills in research. Basically, these are the things a researcher must have in order to create a well conducted research. So before anything else, let us first go to the short activity that I prepared. So this activity is called word cloud. So the instructions are simple. Each student will participate in making our word cloud by answering a question. So in total, I prepared 2 questions. So what you're going to do is to answer it. So any word or phrase that you come up to, as long as it is related to the question, it's all good. So let me first stop presenting and share you the link. So here is the link to our chat box. So let me present again. So for our first question, when we say plagiarism, what comes to your mind? So you can answer that by clicking the link that was in our chat box. So I'll be giving you 2 minutes to answer. So we have first entry, we have stealing, we have cheating, we have copy paste, crime. So let me just gather your answers first. So we have academic fraud. So there are 5 participants. I hope that the others will participate as well. So we have invalid, uncredited, so stealing is our top answer. So any more concepts or words related to plagiarism? So 1 more minute. So we have piracy. We have unethical. That's correct. One minute left. Our main answers here are cheating and stealing. So we have here violation. We have without proper citation. We have copy paste. We have violation, intellectual dishonesty, 30 seconds. So still, our top answer is stealing and crediting. So let us now proceed. So thank you all for participating. Let us now proceed to the second question. Now, the second question is, what are the qualities or attitudes a researcher must have? Again, the second question now is, what are the qualities or attitudes a researcher must have? So I'll be giving you another 2 minutes to answer. So we have responsible, we have honest. So let's disregard the ones that is related to plagiarism. So we have unbiased, very good. We have honest, considerate, responsible. We have patient. We have open-minded. So another minute. So honest is our leading answer for this question. Anything else? We have truthful, we have transparent, very good. We have understanding, we have initiative, we have diligent, we have analytical. Any more? So we have time management, systematic. Still honest is our top answer for this one. So the answers are keep coming and coming, so I'll wait for those. So we have accountable, lawful, economical. We have innovative, very good, creative, resourceful, and so much more. So thank you, STEM 5. So let me stop presenting. So I am pleased to know that you are all aware of the concepts of plagiarism, and you know that there are personal qualities a researcher must have in their selves. So let us now proceed. Wait for a while. Let me present again for a while. So again, thank you STEM 5 for participating in our short activity. Now let us now proceed to the desired learning outcomes for this afternoon. That at the end of the lesson, the students are able to first is differentiate the different essential skills in research. Second is to acknowledge its importance and practice it in real life setting. And lastly is to answer a short set work regarding the lesson. So without further ado, let us now begin. So in research, there are four concepts or four skills a researcher must have or innate to their selves. So we have here the paraphrasing, summarizing, citing, and referencing. So I know that most of you already know these concepts. I know you know what it means. But for this lesson is we are going to dive deeper towards this concept and recall for the betterment of your research. So let us first talk about paraphrasing. Now again, paraphrasing, let me just recall you. Paraphrasing is presenting ideas and information in your own words and acknowledging where it came from. Now, for plagiarism, so let me call Jonas. Can you read the text? So if Jonas is not available, Arabelle, kindly read the text.
Plagiarism, an act of using another person's ideas or words and owning them as yours.
So thank you, Arabelle, for reading. Basically, plagiarism is known to be the utilization of someone else's work, concept, and ideas without acknowledging the source itself. So what is the connection between plagiarism and paraphrasing? So plagiarism is the complete opposite of paraphrasing because in paraphrasing, by using your own words, you'll be able to demonstrate your own understanding towards the text. And you have this ability to showcase that you convey information. But in plagiarism, you are technically straight up just kidnapping someone else's ideas and stealing their concepts. Now, the question now is, what is the point of recalling the concept of plagiarism? Eh ma'am, alam na po namin yan, napag-aralan na po namin yan ng mga nakaraan. Now, plagiarism is a major problem not in the higher education, not only in higher education, but also in academe in general. Hindi lang siya kinocommit ng mga high school student, nandiyan rin mga senior high, mga college, and so on. So, there are a lot of types of plagiarism na baka hindi kayo aware na plagiarism na pala yun. Now, I am here to introduce to you to some of the types of plagiarism and show you some of the don'ts in paraphrasing. So, Here we have the four types of plagiarism. So we have word for word plagiarism, paraphrasing plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, and source plagiarism. So let's talk to it one by one. So first is we have the word for word. It means copy and pasted, as in no changes at all. So you can rely on two boxes here in the screen. So first is we have the original text, which the statement goes like this: the illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this statement is according to Alvin Toffler. But in the plagiarized text, as you can see, um, it was just copy pasted, meaning word for word is also known as direct plagiarism because it is the literal word for word transcription of a section of someone else's work without crediting the source where it came from. Again, in word for word, it is copy and pasted. So next is we have the paraphrasing plagiarism. So in here, we have the word substitution and word order modification. So just rely on the two boxes here in the screen. So first is the original one. As you can see, we have here the bold text, which is the illiterate. And illiterate was changed into mentally challenged in the plagiarized work. So, for example, kunwari meron kang nakita na related studies na connected sa study nyo. So, meron kang isa. At may nakita kang phrase doon or sentence na pwede mong magamit sa lesson, sa study nyo. Ang gagawin mo is, for example, may nakita kang word. For example, the word is big. So, you will just change it to big, you will change it to huge, small to little, beautiful to gorgeous, and so on. So, this type of paraphrasing is an incorrect one because it usually occurs when a person replaces just a word or two in a source phrasing with just a synonym. Basically, changing a word or two doesn't really change a thing. So you can actually rely on the box again. So kung magbabago ka lang ng isang word dyan, o kaya naman dalawa, o kaya tatlo, but the general structure or the meaning of the text is still the same, still plagiarism pa rin ang tawag doon. So why? Nagbago naman po ako. Basically, this type of paraphrasing does not show enough understanding or engagement to the text. So again, for paraphrasing plagiarism, we have here the word substitution with synonym. So let us now proceed to the third one, which is the mosaic plagiarism. So in mosaic plagiarism, we have patching and fruit salad. So in mosaic plagiarism, it occurs when a person borrows phrases from other or different sources without crediting the source. Like for example, again, meron kang related studies na nakita na apat. Iba-iba yung related study na nakita mo na apat. Ang gagawin mo, kung dun sa isa, meron kang nakita na connected sa study mo at magagamit nyo, ika-copy mo, tapos meron ka naman nakita sa pangalawa mo, tapos kukuha ka ng kakaunti na ulit, pero connected siya sa first one mo, tapos ika-copy mo na lang ulit, tas sa pangatlo, ganun din yung ginawa mo. Kumbaga parang dinudugtong-dugtong mo lang sila. That is called mosaic plagiarism. Because it means that you are just copying phrases or passages and ideas from different sources and putting them all together to create a new text. Basically, just like mosaic, kung ang gagawin mo is pagdudugtungin mo lang yung mga ideas ng iba't ibang sources, ang tawag doon is mosaic plagiarism. Because just like mosaic, you are putting pieces together to create an art. Kung sa fruit salad naman, naglalagay ka ng iba't ibang prutas para mabuo yung fruit salad mo. So basically, that's for mosaic plagiarism. We have patching. Now, let us now proceed to the fourth type of plagiarism, which is the source plagiarism, and it means wrong citation. So in this, please rely on the two boxes here in the screen. So we have the original text. The original statement was said by Toffler on 2009. Pero dun sa plagiarized text, you can see that it was said na by Galang. So kahit na makikita nyo sa original text at sa plagiarized, dun sa plagiarized, nakaparaphrase na yung sinabi ni Toffler. Kahit na nakaparaphrase na siya ng maayos, kung mali naman yung tao na ilalagay mo doon, o i-credit mo, still considered siya as plagiarism. So that is called source plagiarism. It occurs or it happens when you intentionally or unintentionally use the word or ideas of others without properly acknowledging the source where you found the informations from. Now, the question now is, why are teachers making big deal out of plagiarism? Bakit po masyado po mahigpit ang yung mga teachers when it comes to plagiarism? Kasi yung plagiarism, hindi lang naman siya nag-occur sa mga research paper. Pwede rin siya sa mga essay, sa mga reflection papers, and so on. So bakit naghihigpit yung mga teacher? It is because some plagiarism may also be deemed as criminal offense that may lead to imprisonment. Pero since syempre student pa lang naman kayo at yung mga nakukulong doon ay mostly mga writer sila, mga author, etc. Kaya mahigpit yung mga teachers regarding dyan because plagiarism is also known as academical theft. Meaning, there are schools who punish a student who commit plagiarism with suspension o di kaya naman expulsion. So, we're just here to remind you that there are a lot of types of plagiarism na you should avoid and you should be aware of. Now, do you have any questions regarding plagiarism? So, do you have any questions or clarifications? None po. So if none, let us now proceed to the second one. So the second one, summarizing, we summarize by the use of SEC approach. Now, does anyone here can recall what SEC approach means? So anyone from STEM 5? So yes, Franz?
SEC approach po, which yung S po stands for state, yung E po for explain, and C for contextualize po.
So thank you, Franz, for that. So again, let's recall what SEC approach means. Just like what Franz said, SEC approach stands for state, the RL, RS, or RT. Second is to explain it. And third is to contextualize it. Now let's go back to summarizing. The question now is, what is the purpose of summarizing? Basically, the purpose of summarizing is to give readers a brief overview of what your study is all about. Basically, summarizing, it teaches students how to discern the most important part of the text and teaches you how to ignore the irrelevant information. And by that, you'll be able to integrate central ideas in a meaningful way. Now, again, we summarize by the use of SEC approach. And again, SEC approach is first is to state the RL, RS, RT. Second is to explain it. And third is to contextualize it. Now, let's go back to the last week's discussion. So in RS, in RL, we have the concept of conventional and non-conventional, right? So can anyone here recall what is the meaning of conventional and unconventional in research? So anyone? So anyone? Or I'll call someone. Hazel, are you here? Hazel. So if Hazel isn't around, um, let me call Sophia. Wala rin ba si Sophia? If the two students are not around, so let me just remind you what is the concept of conventional and unconventional in writing the RL and RS. So basically, in conventional, the RL and RS is enumerated. So in writing the RL and RS, in conventional, the topics are enumerated. Whereas in unconventional, the RS and RL are continuous. So basically, that's the difference between the two. Now, in unconventional, we have two patterns in writing, which are the following. We have the synoptic pattern and argumentative pattern. So in synoptic pattern, first is you will state all the positive RL and RS. Then after that, you will now state the negative one. For example, your topic is all about online class. So what you're going to do if you use the synoptic pattern is that you first state all the positive. Like for example, we have here the benefits, what are the advantages, what are the positive, any positive that is related to the RL and RS, any positive. And next, you will now follow it by negative. Like for example, what are the harms? What are the disadvantages? Basically, all the negative. Again, in synoptic pattern, you will state all the positive first, then followed by negative. And in argumentative naman, the difference is that in argumentative, you will write the RL and RS alternately. Positive, negative, advantages, disadvantages, benefits, harm, and so on. Now, still in summarizing, again, we are using the SEC approach. Here is an example. So, we have here the research paper, and this is entitled An Analysis of the News Framing of Top 4 Online News Portals on Marcus's Burial. So, here is the example. First is you need to state the RS. So, I'll give you time to read or check it. Again, first is to state the RS. So after stating the RS, the topic here is the torture, human rights violation during Marcos regime. Next, for the explain. So after stating, you will now explain. So I'll give you also time to read. After explaining, you should explain it even more. Then after that, the last part is to contextualize the RS. And by the means of contextualizing, it means that you will connect or you will find the connection between your study and the previous studies. Basically, what do you call this? Try to connect them both, try to see their difference and etc. So again, we summarize by the use of SEC approach. And this is just a short recap. Again, in writing the RL and RS, we have two concepts such as the conventional and numerated. Unconventional, we have the continuous type of RL and RS. And in unconventional, we have two patterns of writing. We have the synoptic, you will state all the positive first, then the negative. And for the second one, we have the argumentative type pattern, which is the alternate positive, negative, and so on. Now, do you have any questions regarding summarizing? So, is summarizing clear to you? So, if you don't have any questions, let us now proceed to the third one. So, the third one is quoting. Now, Jose, kindly read what's on the um, slide.
Number 1. Quote when you can say any better. Number 2. Quote when the one who says it is an authority.
So thank you, Jose, for reading. Basically, quoting, it means repeating the author's exact word. Basically, it means a passage of someone else's word, then crediting the source. So quoting, it is frequently used to support an argument. Now, in quoting, there is this thing that you should remember. So in quoting, make sure to first introduce, second is to cite, and third is to explain the quotation. Again, in quoting, make sure to introduce, cite, and explain the quotation. So this technique is called the ICE method. So let me explain it pa. So for example, so when you quote, there's the introduce. This first step is to introduce. Here we have first is to state the author's last name. It can be either like their full name, so author's name or last name. Second is to put necessary background information towards the author. And third one is to incorporate signal verb. And signal verb should be written in past tense. So this is according to the APA guideline. So for example, mm, for a while, Raveli, kindly read the example.
As stated by Cormac McCarthy in his 2006 novel The Road, you forget what you want to remember, and you remember what you want to forget. Page 12.
So thank you, Raveli, for reading. Basically, in here, we should introduce. And by introducing, again, state the author's last name or full name. So in this case, we have Cormac McCarthy. Second is to add necessary background information towards the author, which in this example, we have in his 2006 novel, The Road. And last is the signal verb, which in this we have stated. So now you know that how to introduce. Let us now proceed to the second part, which is to cite. So in quoting, you should provide either in-text or parenthetical citation. So still in cite, place every quotation between quotation marks and copy the text word for word, including the text original punctuation and capital letters. So meaning, kung kumuha kayo ng quotation ng iba, lahat ilalagay nyo, wala kayong babagyuhin kahit ano. And lastly, after you introduce, cite, you should now the last part, which is to explain. So make sure to explain your quotation and not just purely copying it. So let's go back to the example. So in here, we have the statement, you forget what you want to remember and you remember what you want to forget. So in this statement, hindi lang dito natatapos yon. Dapat may kadugtong ka pang explanation mo. Sarili mong explanation. Tell them why is it relevant to your study? What is the importance of this statement towards your study? So kung ano ba, kung bakit nyo ba siya kinuha. So doon nyo ilalagay yung explanation nyo. Again, in quoting, there's this method that we called ICE. Basically, first is to introduce, second is to cite, and third is to explain the quotation. So, still in citing, we have two ways on how we cite. First is the in-text, second is the parenthetical. So, let me explain. So here we have two examples. We have the parenthetical and in-text citation. First, let's go first to the parenthetical. Parenthetical citation using APA 7 style. Basically, it uses author date citation method with parentheses. So you can look to the screen that we have here, parentheses, Kent and Gilles, 2017. So basically, after a quote or after a paraphrased information, you will add parentheses, then contain it with the author's last name, then the year of publication, at kung available, pwede nyo ring ilagay kung anong page nyo siya kinuha. Like for example, in this Kent and Gilles 2017, yung sinabi nila Kent na information, nakuha nyo siya sa page 5, so pwede nyo siyang ilagay. Kent and Gilles 2017, page 5. Basically, ganon ang parenthetical. Nasa dulo siya after siya ng quoted or direct quotation and o di kaya naman, nasa dulo siya ng paraphrased information nyo. So now we have the in-text. So in-text, using the APA citation again, it uses author's last name and year. So we have here Kent and Gilles 2017. We have Coronel 2020. We have Santiago 2019. We have Alejo 2015, and so on. So you can see the in-text example here. Now, there are times when we cite. So there are 3 times when we cite. And the first one is we cite when we are using a direct quotation. So here, for a while, Danica, kindly read the text.
When to cite when using a direct quote. Example, well, you're about to enter the land of the free and the brave, and I don't know how you got the stamp on your passport. The price must known someone.
So Danica, kindly call someone.
Kahit po sino, ma'am. Felicity po.
Felicity, kindly open your mic.
Yes po.
May question lang ako. This example, is it in-text citation or parenthetical citation, and why?
Parenthetical po.
Bakit?
Nag-base lang po ako dun sa may, sa last part po, yung may Toy Bean 2009 page 52.
So thank you, Felicity. That is correct. Again, kung sa parenthetical, nasa dulo siya ng direct quotation o di kaya naman paraphrased information. Tsaka naka-parenthesis si author, page, author, year, o di kasama rin yung page. So next, again, we cite when we are paraphrasing information. So this is another example of parenthetical citation where after nung paraphrased information, nilagay na natin si parenthesis, si author, and yung year. And last is we cite when we are citing a source within a source. So for example, Unsworth refers to the previous work by Holiday on linguistics. So for example, si Holiday meron siyang study regarding linguistic. At dun sa study niya, dinefine niya what linguistic is. Now, si Unsworth, ginamit niya yung work ni Holiday. At ikaw naman, gagamitin mo yung work ni Unsworth. So basically, ang gagawin mo sa citation, you will say, Holiday, comma, as stated in Unsworth, comma, year, and page number. So again, there are 3 times or three times where we cite. We cite when we are using direct quotation, we cite when we are paraphrasing information, and we cite when we are citing a source within a source. So do you have any questions regarding citation? So do you have any questions or clarifications? So if none, let us now proceed to the last part. So yon, none po. So let us now proceed to the last part, which is the referencing. For a while, um, let me call someone. Ralph, kindly read the text.
Referencing. References are the complete citation of the authors mentioned in your paper and arranged based on the author's last name in alphabetical A to Z order and found at the end of the research paper. Use APA 7th edition as style of referencing.
So thank you, Ralph, for reading. Basically, referencing is as also important sa mga nabanggit pa. Kasi dito na yung last part. Dito na siya sa bibliography. And remember, in referencing, it should be alphabetical, A to Z. Kasi maraming estudyante ang nakakaligtaan yon. At meron po tayong proper way on how we reference. Now, referencing, it allows you to acknowledge the contribution of other writers or other authors in your work. Basically, referencing, it is also a way on how we credit writers or researchers from whom you borrowed your informations from. Now, here is what I'm talking about. So we have here reference guide for journal article, books, and edited book chapter. So, kung gagamitin mo yung journal article, different siya sa book reference at different yung book reference kapag naman re-reference ka ng chapter in edited book. So, magkakaiba sila. Now, let's talk about journal article. Kasi I know that you will be utilizing the online libraries available. We have here Google Scholar, EBSCO, ResearchGate, and so on. So most of you will use journal article. So here is how we properly reference. First is the last name of the author, comma, the initial name of the first name of the author, tuldok. Then, open parenthesis, the year of publication, close parenthesis, period. Then, the title of the article. After the title of the article, period, indention. So as you can see, the author and the name of the periodical isn't aligned because meron tayong indention na dapat gawin. So after ng period sa article, you should now put the name of periodical o kung saan siya na-published, comma, then put the volume number and the issue number after it, then comma. So yung volume number at issue number, makikita nyo siya sa, di ba, title, makikita nyo lang siya sa baba. Usually nilalagay ng author doon. Then, comma. Next is the pages where you got the informations from. Like for example, you got the informations from page 1 to 3. So ilalagay mo siya, period. And then lastly is the DOI. So basically, that's for referencing. Now, do you have any question regarding referencing? So do you have any questions? Referencing? How about the 4 essential skills in research? Meron ba kayong tanong kabuuan? So kung wala, ako meron. Now, for the question, as a researcher, why acquiring the skills important? Again, the question is, as a researcher, why acquiring the skills important? Now, do we have any volunteer para magsagot? So, I'll be giving you time to think about this. Kung walang sasagot, I'll call someone. So, James, why do you think that acquiring the skills important? Wait, may nagtaas. Yes, Leila? Since wala
Hello
pa.
po.
I think po mas mapapadali po dun sa mga researchers po na nakakuha po ng mga info and at the same time po hindi po sila maaakusahan po especially po kung malaki po yung um, topic po na ginagawa po nila. Kumbaga po hindi po sila maaakusahan dun sa isang bagay na hindi po kasi sila dun aware. Ganun po.
So thank you, Leila. There's someone who raised her hand as well. Yes, Arabelle.
Ayun po ma'am, mahalaga po na ina-acquire yung skills na to as a researcher para po mas mas natin yung mga authors na pinagkuhanan po natin. And din po, mahalaga din po kasi siya sa ating research paper na makita po din yung mga related studies po para mas madagdagan po yung para mas madagdagan po yung related study na mailalagay po natin sa sarili po natin research study.
So thank you, Arabelle. Kindly call someone. Ay, wait lang. May nagtaas na pala. Wait, yes, Princess?
It would be essential po hindi lang sa writer, kundi po sa buong work ng paper. Some people po kasi they forget to how to write the summarizing. They forget to put some important words po and also they also forget po yung referencing which they didn't put the acknowledge to the writer po.
So thank you, Princess. That is correct. Yes, John Lemmer.
Research po, we need the skills in order to attain a certain formality in research because research po is more of a process and then a process requires many skills po. Then those skills will help us guide our progress po in attaining a certain greatness or a certain level of formality in our research.
So thank you, John, Leila, Princess, and Arabelle for your answer because all of your answers are correct. Basically, it is important to acquire the skills because these four are crucial in the development of a good research. These four skills aims to give credit where it's due. Basically, not only crediting the source, but also it enhances your credibility, not only as a student, but a researcher as well. Now, these four also aims to teach you how to avoid academic dishonesty, which is plagiarism. So, with that, may you not commit plagiarism after today's discussion. So, I would like to thank you all for participating, and I hope you learned something.